Greetings, my Israelite brothers and sisters, heirs, joint heirs, adopted, grafted, however you may come. Just wanted to say greetings to you as we check in with you all today to see how you're doing as we're inside the car, going about our day, handling a little errands back and forth and stuff like that. You know, when you have buildings on our church property, sometimes we have just little things that has to be routinely maintained and all like that. How you doing, Brother Ricky? So I wanted to put this in here, car cam shutdown. I'm not on the shutdown, by the way. I'm here to talk about the shutdown. Although I believe on Friday I had a little shutdown because nobody was getting notifications. So seems like they starting to work again. How you doing, Kelly? So yes, there was some shutdown going on, but I'm here to talk about the shutdown. But I'm not. There is no shutdown. Okay. How you doing, Mrs. Watson? Good morning to you also. So I want to talk about this government shutdown. I suppose over the past day or so, and they thank you very much, Brother Ricky. There was a lot of there's a lot of videos out there that's trying to link this government shutdown with prophecy. Can't do it. It's not going to happen. Is it something to be concerned about? Yes. Yes. And I'm going to tell you why in a minute. Okay? But it is not linked to prophecy. Okay? So that's, I saw the way people are twisting it, and no. Okay, so is it something we should worry about? Yes. Now remember, this is not, the government shutdown is not the beginning of the tribulation. Okay? Believe it or not, you got crazy videos out there that are doing that. And they're getting like 10, 15,000 views. Okay? Because people are anticipating something. So any of something that happens that somebody says is connected to the tribulation or to prophecy, they ride on it. Okay? Don't want you to do that. Remember when the abomination of the desolation stands in the holy places spoken by the prophet Joel, then you're going to see a tribulation like you have never seen before. This government shutdown is an issue, it's a problem, but I'm going to tell you what the problem is with this government shutdown. Again, it's not the end of the world, but it is a problem. Now let's talk about the shutdown. Why is it a problem? If this government shutdown continues, you need to start getting a little bit more prepared in terms of making sure, and you should always do this, always have, if you can financially afford it, try to get a month worth of food that if you didn't go to the grocery store for 30 days, your family has enough to eat. If you can do it for 60 days, 90 days and have canned goods, do it. Do it, okay? Water does have an expiration date, so if you can do it, do it. So why should you be concerned about this shutdown? Because of this. The TSA workers are starting to call in sick and not come to work because they feel like, you know, I'm being forced to work and I'm not getting paid. So they'll call out sick, which they did here in South Florida. It did impact the flight travel because what happened was they closed down terminals. They didn't stop flights. They just closed down terminals. As a result, people did not make their flights, and things got overboard, and things are getting canceled. Okay? So when that starts to happen, it puts a panic in people, and then they'll start to drive, opposed to use that as a mode of unpredictable transportation. So they'll start to drive. When they start to drive, what's going to happen is next, gas goes up, because all of a sudden the rate of travel or the pattern of travel changes. In the wintertime, what happens is gas goes down. Traditionally, it goes down. So across the country, you see gas prices going down because not as many people travel. During the summertime, gas goes up because they think that people can, they want to kind of regulate the use of gas, okay? But now with this government shutdown, if people start to go and use gas or, use travel as a mode of transportation during the periods of the year that they normally don't, it uses more barrels of gas, it goes into the reserve, and all of a sudden gas goes up. Gas goes up, it can affect transportation such as the trucking industry. Once it affects the trucking industry, supplies and goods, it gets to department stores, grocery stores, they won't be as frequent, so things run out. When things run out, it could spark a level of fear where people start to buy extra and things run out quicker, okay? So now people go to the grocery store, what they normally would see as frequently as they see it, they don't see it, okay? So that's what happens. All because of this government shutdown, it can spill over into the private, and which starts to impact commerce. And that's just one way. That's one ripple effect of how it can impact things. And so then it puts people in a little panic, and then all of a sudden the government will do something, whether they pass a temporary budget to keep the government going or however that is. And they could do that now, by the way. They can say right now, listen, let's just pass this portion of the budget so government can continue to operate. The problem with doing that, if you are a president or a Congress, being House or Senate, that has an item that you really want, it defeats the purpose of using the budget as a platform to tie everything up, okay? Because right now, the budget is a platform in which the wall and funding for the wall is connected to. So if the government or the president is saying nothing's going to get passed unless you pass this item because it's a part of the budget. So to carve it out temporarily and allow government to operate, you've just taken the muscle out of your tactic, so to speak, okay? So right now, the president and or the House and Senate is using this platform as hostage. It's what they're using, so to speak, to say, if I don't get this, the government's going to shut down. And therefore, usually when this happens, it happens for a day or two. The government gets shut down for a day or two. And you'll see it on the news that we don't have a budget. The government is shut down. And wow, the president, they did this to Obama. We can't believe that he allowed the government to shut down because of Obamacare. So you go into these little scare tactics and stuff like that and shame They're mostly shame tactics. But in this situation, as I was sharing with people this morning, this situation is a little different because you're not dealing with a politician, you're dealing with a businessman. And drawing a line in the sand is what he does. Then you're dealing with politicians who are saying, wait a minute, if we give in on this to this guy, he's going to use this platform and this tactic, and we're going to lose every time. So that's what you have. You have a situation where nobody's willing to bend. But the issue is this is not normal. This shutdown is not normal. And what's happening is when you see it to start to impact travel, what happens if the post office says, the postal workers start saying, you know what, we're not going to deliver the mail because we're working for free. Now, they're not really working for free. What happens is when the government funding gets approved, because some people say, why don't they just print more money? It's not like that. The budget has to pass. You can't spend money unless it's been approved to be spent. So what happens is all these people that are working, although there's a shutdown, they got their hours. They're going to get one great big check, and that's what this comes up to be. They're going to get if they haven't got paid in a month, and the second month comes in, then they're going to get paid. Once the government shutdown goes away, they'll get paid. The problem is when you play with people's lives like this, and people are not getting paid. I'm gonna call out sick, and I'm gonna go work for somebody else, because that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna call out sick, or I'm gonna get another job, or whatever the case is. You know, who knows? And who knows how lenient their bank is going to be? Who knows how lenient their credit report is going to be? You know, so all of this has a ripple effect. And let's say this: you got all these government employees. They said 800,000 workers. Okay, so I've been coming up with different ways of how this is going to impact us. And as I think about them, I jot them down and come back and tell you. So these people could potentially get a bad credit report. Because if this thing continues to go months, then what's going to happen is, how you doing, Daniel? They got a bad credit report now. So when they get ready to go buy a car, they say, well, I'm not going to buy a car because I got to wait now 12 months before my credit straightens out. So now car sales goes down. I mean, this thing's going this long starts to have a ripple effect on everything. So that's just one way. We talked about travel. When people don't travel, and because they can't get a flight out, because the lines are backed up, then what they'll do, they say, you know what, forget it, I'm going to drive. But then gas rates, because once these gas stations and everybody starts to see that everybody's traveling more, gas goes up because they're going to try to make money. Then people say, you know what, forget it, I'm not going to travel. And so then your hotel industry, they're not getting the reservations. So now those employees are going to be impacted. So long term, if this continues, you're going to see where government money and employees not being used is going to have an impact. Okay. Michael Watson says, you're right about the shutdown not being written in the prophecy. Yeah, it's not a part of prophecy. It's just one of these things that happens. He says, I would like to add that even though this is not specifically written in prophecy, everything's a part of prophecy. Yes and no. Yes and no. And let me give you an example. In essence, everything can be written. You could tie or link something into prophecy. For instance, the Bible says there's going to be earthquakes in diverse places. Okay? And you can't just say, well, that's just an earthquake. It has nothing to do with prophecy. That's not true. You can say the opioid epidemic that's happening right now, it's not specifically written in prophecy. But is it a part of prophecy? Yeah, you can link it into prophecy. But is it the end of the world? Is it the tribulation? And this is what I brought out today, Michael, this morning, that it's not the tribulation. Earthquakes and the California fires, can you link it to, as they say, turbulent times? Yes, you can link it to turbulent times. Can I link the opioid problem? Yes, because the Almighty said there's going to be a time where this thing's going to flip-flop, okay? So you can look at this as now things are starting to flip-flop, okay? So, yeah, you can link it. I just don't want to link it to the tribulation. Now, when you link it to prophecy, what does that mean? The scripture says we ought to always be ready. So what I'm saying is that you need to watch it, because if this thing continues, you need to start to get your canned goods, start to stock it up. Because if one grocery store came out and says, hey, we're going to cut back on how we stock our stores because this shutdown has affected our trucking industry, because diesel fuel has gone up, because people are using that mode of transportation, because any transportation that depends on government regulations, because the government is shut down, that's not there anymore. That's how quick this can happen. And that's what you need to be aware of. That's what we need to be educated on, is to say, keep your eyes open and start to watch this thing, because it's happening like it's never happened before. It's never happened where it's starting to go long. And let me say this, the players are different. You got the same game, but different players. This is not just your traditional president who used to be a part of the House of Representatives, and then he became a senator or a governor, and then he became the president. So he knows the political game. He knows how far to push this. He's never been a local council person. He's never been a mayor. He's never been a state representative on a state level, much less a representative on a congressional level. He's never been a senator or a governor. He's never been that person. He is a first-time politician. He's a businessman. And in business, when you have a disagreement, when you're negotiating, he's the type of business guy, he will put the sands, he will draw a line in the sand, he will dig a bunker, and he will wait you out. That's what businessmen do that have money. They will wait you out. They will let you take them to court. They bring in the best attorneys, and they prolong this. This is what he's doing. He's doing the game that he knows how to do, including this administration, because a lot of them have never been in a political situation before. They've never worked government. So they've been in business. You push it. You push it to the limit, okay? And that's what this guy is doing. And he's going to push it. So those expert politicians like Nancy Pelosi, She got her hands full. She just don't know how full her hands really are. Okay, that's what they don't know. And so right now, you're dealing with a non-traditional guy who will say, you know what? Government shut down. It's not my fault. It's their fault. All they got to do is pass that wall. And after a while, the American citizens are going to start saying, what's the big deal? Build the wall. Build the wall. That's what they're going to start saying, okay? Because this president is starting to say, I'm going to pull back troops from overseas. I'm going to cut spending on the military because I want to bring everything back home, okay? Now, guess what? When you start to bring everything back home, then another world power starts to creep up. Russia, they start to creep up because you don't have as many troops out there, right? So that's how this thing fills over into prophecy, because America is no longer going to be a world power. You watch that on the news. They're telling you that globalization is having an impact on the United States being a world power. So when you see this stuff, it leads to a road that this is how prophecy starts to put the pieces of the puzzle into place. Although it's not the tribulation, but you see the pieces starting to formulate, okay? Because nothing's done overnight. It starts to formulate itself. So I'm going to go to the chat room here. How you doing, Tia? How you doing, Soul Food Queen? How you doing, Michael? Wow. Anita. Sandra, how are you? Tia says the opioid epidemic is a part of privacy, or she's saying prophecy, read Deuteronomy 30. Everything that happened to us got to happen. Yes. And that's why I say that is definitely. Never forget the Battle of Jericho. Even though they built the wall came tumbling down. You can't stop the Most High God of Israel. And this is why when you look at Israel, Israel is one of the most well-protected countries. They have no terrorists. Since they had that issue back in the 60s when a plane got hijacked and all like that bomb, you don't find that in Israel. Israel is one of the most protected countries that there is. But what's going to happen is, according to prophecy, the nations there are going to come up against Israel. Okay, let me see what this. Michael says, I would like to add that even though this is not specifically everything that happens is a part of prophecy. Yes, it's not specific, yes, but it does lead to it. Society is starting to break down. Society is starting to change. What has been the norm is no longer the norm. We don't have a normal political structure anymore. We don't have a normal president anymore. We don't have a president that's a politician anymore. So Trump is going to probably be reelected in 2 years. That's been the norm. But also, it may not be the norm, but it could be the norm. He could, and if he is the president, you're going to see things continue to change. It's going to change. And society is going to change the way we know it. And this is why, Sister Tia, you and I have had this discussion. This is why I think it is good that although you don't go into panic mode, you go into preparation mode. That's the mode we need to go into, Israel. All my brothers and sisters, we need to go into what we call into preparation mode. And when you go into preparation, Tia says it's like the Great Depression. Well, it's leading down that road. It's definitely leading down that road. When there was the Great Depression, you had people standing in food lines. that was like unprecedented. We don't see it that way yet, but let me tell you, if they keep playing these games and people go into a panic rage, and let me tell you this, if this continues, the mortgages are not going to get paid. And let me tell you something about these banks. You don't pay your mortgage for 2 or 3 months, they're going to put you in foreclosure. So you can fool around with these government employees and the houses that they own and not let these people get paid. Those cars are going to get repossessed. Okay? The repo person, you don't let these people pay their car, and those cars are going to get repossessed. No ifs, ands, and buts. They're going to get repossessed. So what you have to do is pick up that phone and call the bank and say, hey, I want to let you know I am a government employee. You see that on my application. I will eventually get paid. I am working. But I need you to chill out for a minute. Okay? And it's up to the lending institution. Depends on what kind of loan it is. Okay? Because they could say, no, sorry. You know, maybe if enough people get their houses and cars foreclosed and repossessed, they'll quit playing this game. But I can tell you, you're dealing with Trump. Trump ain't going to, he's not going to break. I'm going to tell you right now, people, that man is not going to break, okay? He's not going to break. He is not going to break. It's just that simple. I'm going back to look at some of the things here. Soul Food says if they build the wall, he won't be president because it's going to take at least 3 years. Well, he's only going to be president for 2 more years. But in the past, traditionally, but like I said, nothing's traditional anymore. He's going to be the Republican nominee because he's the president. He's the incumbent. So yes, he will be that. Yeah. So
leave out, boss man. Go that way because I blocked that side off.
Okay, thank you. So because he is the president, that is the Republican candidate. He could have somebody go against him, but I doubt that happens. So who is in the Democratic Party that can run that will beat him? I'm sorry, it's not going to be Hillary. It's not going to be Hillary. Okay? So that's not going to happen. So the issue is who's going to beat him? Rashad said this is the calm before the storm. Yes. That's funny, Tia. Anita says the Mossad knows everything, and it almost looks like they are trying to reset everything. Endure to the end. We got to endure to the end. Yes, that is true. Tia says the Most High God of Israel is using him to bring down America. Yeah, America is losing its power. Are we going to become a country that will be a third world country? And when we say bring down America, are we going to be a dysfunctional country? I don't think that America will get to a point where we're dysfunctional. I think we're going to get to a point that we're not as functional as we are accustomed to being. And that can spark in and of itself a cultural shock. And that can spin into a lot of other things where the politicians say, let's not focus on abroad. Let's bring our resources back home. The fact that you bring your resources back home and you start to focus domestically and not internationally, it has an impact on the American dollar. So all of that can happen. So yeah, I agree, Atia, when you say America must fall, but I want to use that in the proper context when we say fall. America would never be like a country that is like Haiti, where you have that going on, But let me tell you what can very well go on. It can feel like it. And that, when it starts to feel like that, it can lead right into a tribulation. And when it goes into a tribulation, let me tell you, when it goes into when America goes into the tribulation, we know that we're going to be, we as the children of the Most High, we know we're going to be in the wilderness, okay? And we know that. And a lot, remember, and let me say this, because, let me say this. Don't forget Zechariah. Don't forget Zechariah. He says, I see 4 carpenters. And he says, who are these carpenters? He says, they have come to fray. Fray means to break down the nations that have scattered Israel. Okay? And fray means when they go to be frayed up, this little, everybody being broke down like this could be the beginning of that fraying that the scriptures is talking about. This is why you have to pay attention. You really got to pay attention. So, because that's going to happen. I can't change that. Nobody can change that. That's Bible. Okay? Nobody can change that. So he did say that he was going to fray up the nations and that have done what they have done to Israel, meaning that they've scattered. Although he says, in Zechariah, he says, I was a little angry with Israel, but they took it too far. Okay? He said they took this thing way too far. And because Israel, these other nations took it too far, wow. I'm going to look in the chat room here. Barbara Jones says, Pastor, do you think this is about more than just a wall and it is like a mini version of what happened in Greece to see how we react before they do the real thing? Well, when you say they do the real thing, that is insinuating that the government is planning to disrupt society, okay? I don't think that any politician wants to intentionally disrupt America. That means let's go in here and let's disrupt people. Let's cause the people to go into a frantic stage and get guns and start to protect their property, and let's put them in a rage where they're going to go out and start stealing and looting. No politician is intentionally doing that. So no, they're not doing this. Whatever happens to us is ordained by the Most High. They cannot do this. Man cannot do this. The Most High can do it, but not man. So no politician wants to see this happen. In their minds, they are protecting the tax dollars. This cannot go up. This wall cannot go up. It's a waste of taxpayers' dollars. So they're saying we can't do it. So what they're doing is they think that it's in the best interest of the American people by not putting up the wall. The Republicans say it's the best interest of our country to put the wall up. So they both think that what they're doing is right. It's almost like when the Messiah was crucified, they did things and didn't realize that what they were doing, they were fulfilling prophecy, but their intentions were not like they were. They thought that he was blasphemous. They thought that he was causing disruption, not knowing that the Almighty did that. Pharaoh hardened his heart because the Almighty put him in that position. So no, they don't have anything planned. I'm not going to give this government that much credit to say that they're doing this to see how we're going to react before they do something. That means they are intentionally planning to do something. No, I don't give them that much credit. I think that what they're doing could unintentionally cause something to happen, but not intentional. It's not a plan. There's not a government plan to cause America to fall. I think their actions can go into a stage of fulfilling biblical prophecy, if you understand what I'm saying. So I don't know. I'm going to see what some people said after this. The children of Israel, we need to pray for the president because the Bible said to pray for our leaders. Don't get me wrong. I'm not for Trump. I'm with the word of God. Joseph says, and that is why Trump came in. He is not a politician. Yes, yes. That is why he is elected. He was elected. The scripture says in Amos, no good thing can happen except the Lord do it. Every president, every king of every nation is in place because the Almighty put them there. You got to believe that. It doesn't matter. I'm not saying, some people say, well, does that mean that you don't vote? That's your decision. I'm telling you that every leader in place is the will of the Most High. And they are put in position to do certain things. Obama, everybody thought this guy was everything. He was the best thing since sliced bread. But under that administration, we have Sodom and Gomorrah now. He was put there for that. Okay? No ifs, ands, and buts. So Trump is put there for a particular reason. And it could be because he's not a politician, because things need to change in order for prophecy, the wheels and the mechanics of prophecy to unfold, be put in place. So therefore, we need not to panic. We need to prepare for change. What used to be the norm is going to a place where it's no longer going to be the norm. Does it mean that America's going to fall and come crumbling to its knees, where people are going to be walking around looking for something to eat and they're not going to be able to find it? And I'm talking about on a total scale. Well, that is tribulation. That's not going to happen until the abomination gets into, the abomination of desolation stands in the holy place. And when that happens, it's going to happen on a global level. So let's keep going here. This is all, the part I'm seeing is that it's no difference than Pharaoh, Nebuchadnezzar. The greatest kingdoms has to fall because of the repenting of his chosen. That was stated by Anita. Michael says, if we look at it, the Bible repeats itself until the final tribulation period. That's true. Tia says, yes, Michael. God's house says, the powers that be know this Bible. They understand this book. If they have to shoot themselves in the foot to fulfill Satan's plans, so be it. Their mindset is less better for them. Tia says the political parties, the Republicans and the Democrats are, I'm trying to scroll down here, Tia, are the children of Edom. Michael says, I don't vote. Tia says the Khazars are the Republicans and Democrats. Michael says, neither should we vote. Okay, great. So I think I caught up with all of that. So I would tell you this. We're in the world, but we're not of the world, okay? And I would tell you that you don't want to be a part of being unprepared. Get yourself prepared. Understand what's going on. You can't be in panic mode and in fear and prepare, okay? Panic people can't prepare. prepared people, aware people, awakening people prepare, okay? Because the scriptures tells us in the last days, it's going to be like unto Sodom and Gomorrah. You need to get prepared for that. You need to be prepared. The laws are going to change, okay? Things supporting Sodom and Gomorrah is going to change. Society as you see it is going to change. It's already changing. The Bible is unfolding right before us right now. Your children need to be prepared. You need to make your children a lot more aware because things are happening right now. So you just can't be oblivious to things. You need to start watching the news. You need to start awakening and reading the scriptures and getting yourself prepared. You really do, okay? That's what you're going to have to start doing now. You can't wait till this government shutdown continues. You need to get prepared now. If you're going to the grocery store this week, start getting a couple extra canned goods, okay? Because like I said, if this government shutdown continues, and if these people don't get their mortgages paid, and homes start to go into foreclosure, cars start to get repossessed, okay? You can easily start something off again, okay? And we don't want to see what we saw in 2010, okay? I can tell you in 2010, we weathered through it. I was in public management. People got laid off. I'm talking about city workers. They got laid off. They had furlough days. Furlough days is, okay, instead of working 40 hours, you're only going to work 24 hours or 32 hours, okay? That's it. So when you start cutting 8 hours off of somebody's pay and they're getting furlough, their bills don't get paid. And when that happened, it put people wasn't paying their taxes. If a mortgage don't get paid, taxes don't get paid. Taxes don't get paid, local government don't operate. If local government don't operate, private contracts that are with government and local government don't happen. And those jobs get laid off. Okay? So did we get through it in 2010? We got through it. It was tight. Did we get through the Depression? We got through it. It was tight. And it depending on what generation goes through, you're dealing with a different generation now. Okay? These young kids that are 18, 19, 20 years old, they will go out here and they will march. You're dealing with some marching kids today. Our kids today are like the kids that were in the 60s. They will go out here and riot and march on you. I'm talking about that 18, 19 group. Okay? Look at the school shootings. Okay? They went up to Washington. Hey, get these guns out of our school. And you see kids that are 18, 19 years old are politically involved. 10 years ago, those people who are 28, 38, 48, they wasn't involved like these 18-year-olds are. Okay, so that's the difference now. So your reaction is going to be different with this shutdown. And when people start to march and go in, then you got to bring in, like you did in the 60s, you got to bring in the National Guard. Now you're dealing with a National Guard who ain't getting paid. Big difference. People look at things differently now. So a lot is happening. I'm not inflicting fear. I'm just saying be aware, be smart, and be in preparatory stage, okay? So listen, thank all of you all. Hit the like button. We got about 15 or more people, maybe 20. It's been bouncing up and down. You all hit the like button, okay? Go over there and hit that like button. Right now, we can get about 15 likes right now. So if you don't mind, hit the like button. I haven't seen it move. Thank you. Thank you. Somebody, Tia says, read Proverbs 6:6-11. Thank you. I see the likes going up. That means be as the ant. Yes, be as the ant. Start to work for the winter. Yes, start to prepare. Work as the ant. Learn the way of the ant. Thank you for the likes. Keep hitting that over there for us. I'll be back again today. I'm running some errands, but the reason why I'm gonna be hitting these car cams like this all week is because I'm watching the news. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at what's going on with the shutdown, and because I am very familiar with public government, I know how these things can unfold very quickly. Okay, so and I'm going to share that with you because I want us to be prepared. Okay, all right. Thank you all for the likes.